Hi, I'm Wolf Wigo, and today we're going to go over a little shot block positioning. We'll start with our body position before we actually get into the shot block. Typically we'll be in a defensive position before we're shot blocking, so we're going to go over that first. Okay, the number one thing is we want to be as long as we can in the water so that we're covering as much ground. So when I say that, I want my legs up on the surface, my body stretched out. I want to be covering as much of the pool area as I can. A lot of people, when they're in defense, they've got their hips down, and when they shot block, they can't cover ground, or they don't have their hips out enough. They're sort of on this kind of angle, okay, a 45-degree angle, and you really want to be all the way lined up 180 degrees so that when I step to block, I'm actually covering ground and covering distance and getting on the shooter as much as I can. Okay, so we'll go over that. I want to start long, 180 degrees like a line. Okay, when I step, I'm going to use the inside of my leg. Okay, I'm going to use my hands to push, and that's going to help me cover a lot of ground. I'm going to push with this hand, pull with my top leg, come under, and then I'm going to start to get into my shot block position. So once we've gone over our hips and we're getting our shot blocking position, there's a number of things we want to think about. First of all, we're driving our legs. We want to be as high out of the water as possible. If you're a shooter and you're looking at someone sort of like this, okay, it's not that intimidating. If someone's high out of the water, okay, in this position, so they're going to think a lot about shooting that ball, and it's really going to give them some pause. So we want to be as intimidating as possible. At the same time, we're covering more space. The shooter might not be able to go over the top of us. Okay, it's going to be a lot more intimidating for that shooter. Okay, so as I step over my hips, okay, I'm not going to stay like this. It's really hard to shot block completely this position. But I also don't want to turn all the way to this position. I want to sort of be a little bit angled where I have my lead arm forward. Okay, my legs are still a little bit split. They're not in this position. Okay, this gives me a lot more mobility. If I start to move on the shooter, okay, I'm not going to sink. I wouldn't just fall forward like if I don't have one leg forward. Also, when the ball passes, it's going to be a lot easier for me to drop my hand and just do a quick breaststroke kick from this angle as opposed to be facing all the way up and then have to swivel my body. It adds an extra layer, okay? So I want to have my legs in this position. Okay, they're under me, driving 100%. If I'm blocking with my left arm, my left leg is forward a little bit, okay? I've got my fingers spread, okay, not like this. I want to make sure my hand angle is flat. I don't want my hand to be angled at all. I don't want my wrist to go back, okay? Otherwise the ball could go off my hand and lob into the goal. Okay, so facing forward a little bit, fingers spread, egg beatering up, a slight bend to my elbow. I don't want to be like this. It's hard to get my fingers right, and it's hard for me to react. So a slight bend in the elbow, I can flex my hand and move, okay, and follow the shooter. Okay, so this is my position. Ball gets passed, and quickly I'm back into my position where I'm covering as much ground as possible, and then I'm anticipating if the ball comes back to my shooter, stepping over, coming up, and blocking. When stepping into our shot block and moving on a player who has the ball, as we're in our good position, we want to step and come with our opposite hand to help knock down the player so that we can control the player if they try and make a move on us. Okay, so let's watch it here.